Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the State of the YouTube podcast.
Some might say the epic finale to State of the YouTube, the final episode that there will ever be.
This is probably the most people that I've had in the studio at one point. Was it 6 people?
Other than that gay orgy you had?
Yeah, besides that. Well, I guess we owe a gamer from Mars who is with us right now, kind of owe you an apology because we were taking bets on how long you would stay at the party. And you stayed several days. We thought like maybe 8 hours.
Yeah,
and then
we thought you would not want to jive with us because we're a bunch of weirdos. And then now that I've got to know you and I know that you love Wings of Redemption videos as much as me, like you fit right in.
Well, if you've ever seen my channel, that's all I cover. It's weirdos.
Yeah, but I didn't think you would want to be among them. You know, you're the imposter in my mind until you show up.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know, Rusty and Mumkey were very bearish on you staying. They thought you'd nope out of here in a couple of hours, just like you did on the Kino Corner Film Festival. But I, once again, Emperor Lemon, correct in his assessment.
No, you said he would stay for 8 hours and 1 minute. It's been 4 days.
If you go back to the audio and actually listen, I said I thought he would stick it out, but I guessed the 1 minute over Rusty's guess just so I could get the entire time frame and cuck him.
all right, well, you won that one. So also we have Gamer from Mars in studio. We have the Kino Corner who has been on the TrashRats podcast in the past. Yeah. And we have, of course, Mr. Egg White, Eggy the main man.
Oh, it's always a pleasure most of the time to be here. Thank you so much.
Most of the time.
This is going to be like one of those weird things like where we were all just having a great time talking in the living room, but the second we move into this room,
Everything just gets very serious.
Yeah. Did you see that?
We can go back to singing the Wings of Redemption song.
It's so good, you know. It's just you could just go back to it like 2 or 3 times in a row.
Get up for that thing you threw. Walk to the refrigerator.
So it's the day after the 4th of July. It's July 5th. Independence Day, as I like to call it.
Back to slavery.
And you guys went out to the bars last night and had a pretty wild time for the
Eggy,
4th of July debauchery.
Oh, yeah, it was really good. I mean, I'm not sure. This was like the 3rd day in a row where I drank like 2 cases of alcohol in a single day. And actually, really, when I think about it, I guess that just never really ends. In fact, I think if I could probably trace that back every day for far too long. But in any case, you know, it was the 4th of July, so I was really just going extra. But, you know, some people, you know, claimed a little bit more than what I thought because I went outside to, you know, frolic among the streets, among the people walking around after I had my, I want to say 7th drink in 40 minutes while I was at the bar. Pretty quick. I mean, you know, it's this heat down here. I'm not used to it. I live in the Arctic tundra where everything's always very dry and very cold. So it's so like swampy that I'm just sweating even more than usual, which is something I already do most of the time anyway. So I was just really putting down those beverages, quenching my thirst, and turning up my partyometer at the same time. So after I was enjoying myself outside, I came back and began dancing with a man in a very short shirt next to the jukebox. And I don't remember what song it was, but it was very groovy. I was breaking it down. I was doing the splits and backflips and somersaults and you know, different Street Fighter moves. Anyway, then a very lovely woman approached me and grabbed me by the collar of my shirt and said, yeah, you threw that drink at that guy, so you have to leave immediately. And I was like, well, golly gee, you know, I went outside. I'm like, listen, I love drinking. What am I mean, there's no way I would be wasting alcohol. I mean, ever since I was a kid, you know, and I started drinking and I accidentally knocked over that first bottle of Smirnoff. You know, I had people
so
just
we were
jump and beat me
confused.
up, and ever since then, I've always said no party fouls. So.
When I went outside to wait with you while we were all getting kicked out, I was like, okay, there's no way Eggy would do this. And Rusty, who's friends with the bartender, went back inside to investigate. Rusty, what did they say?
Yeah, they definitely confirmed. I was like, there's no way Eggy just threw a drink at the bartender.
Yeah. And they said that did not happen?
I feel like they said it did, but it seemed like it was an accident. Maybe you're just too rowdy or something. But wouldn't it be on the stream? Weren't you streaming at the time?
Well, actually, yes, I was. Now that maybe that might have played a role in it because I was on Instagram Live. I was taking some callers, and I was basically
You were taking callers at the bar?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Shout out to people that hopped in on the live. Yeah, you know, they're basically it's like headbanging with me. I mean, you know, I definitely am a rambunctious young scrap. Or whatever they call that, you know, young
Young
whatever.
chap.
Anyway,
Scrappy young
yeah,
lad.
I'm like Scrappy Doo, except like the grown man version. I get scrappy and I get a little too happy, but not too often do I get snappy. But in any case, yeah. So I guess the best guess was that I brought my empty can in my hand. Every time after I finished a drink, I crushed the can in my hand, and then I went up to set it at the bar because I thought that was good conduct. But I might have really just been running at full speed, and maybe the can just like went over the. So I'll say, I definitely didn't whip any drinks at anybody. There might have been something, it's called the second law of Newton or whatever it is, where when it's in motion, it stays in motion.
Inertia.
So basically, the can was in my hand, empty, and I was just so excited to get another drink. Maybe it could have slipped out of my hand and landed in somebody's general direction.
What did they think? They think the can was just going to stop? Like the second your hand stopped touching? Of course it's going to keep going.
But I'll tell you one thing. There's a very good message and a very good lesson that I learned as I was stumbling through an unfamiliar area with a bunch of strangers after they kicked me out of the bar. I'll never bring my drink back up to the bartender again, because who knows when something could just go terribly wrong. I'll snap my fingers at them. When I'm tipping them for the drink, I think that's probably good service anyway. I'll just really yell loud and give them some of these finger snaps, so that way we can make sure our professionals handling these drinks from now on.
Now, all those drinks you bought at the bar, all that business you give them, and they throw you out. This is the biggest crime to happen in Gainesville since Rusty's friend ran over that woman.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. He did not show up to the bar last night.
Yeah, we invited him to the party and he did not come. That's too bad.
Is this old news? I saw this earlier. I meant to ask you guys, but what Mia Khalifa picking up dog shit with her mask and then putting it back on?
Ugh.
Have you seen that?
I have seen that, yeah. Has anybody else seen it?
Was it like part of a porno?
It was just going around on Twitter. I saw Keemstar posted a video. It's like someone, maybe it's fake. I don't think it is, but it's like she's walking her dog takes a shit. She takes her mask off, picks it up, throws it away in the trash can, like the dog shit, and then flips her mask around, puts it back on.
There's no way that's.
I
think
I'll find it real quick.
Jamie, put that on.
it was probably a new one that she pulled out of her pocket.
A new shit?
Look at Gamer
It was just-
from Mars
is it
trying
video
to
or a picture?
make sense
Well,
of
here's
this.
what gets me about it, because so basically it's filmed. The point of view is like somebody just that happened to be sitting across the street, with their phone out, and captures her walking into frame. I guess you couldn't really go and make a dog take a shit on command. I guess. That makes sense. That would be spontaneous, but
All right, here's the video.
Wait, is that
now.
actually her? Or is that someone that just looks like her?
no, that's her. I think it was confirmed.
Confirmed.
So yeah, somebody's chilling in this car.
By who? The Mia updates live
on
news
TikTok?
feed?
Yeah.
Hit
Okay.
or
Or
miss.
actually, wait a
I
minute.
bet
No,
you're
the
smelling
dog. Okay,
piss,
so the
huh?
dog did not shit on camera. So the dog could have been shitting prior to being recorded. So there is
This is a
certainly
stage. There's no way. No.
Yeah,
there's
there's
certainly factors here that
Someone just
could
dropped
be...
a Babe Ruth bar and then
exactly.
moving it to the trash.
So
kindly.
then
Yeah.
this is just someone on TikTok who staged this, and they said it was Mia Khalifa. But then you said,
Yeah,
oh,
You remember
well.
that Justin Bieber burrito picture a couple years back? Look that up. There was a picture of Justin Bieber eating a burrito sideways, in the middle of it first, and it got all over Twitter, and people found out that it was just a stunt double. They hired somebody to dress like Justin Bieber.
Why would this person randomly be just filming someone walking their dog and putting it to TikTok?
Well,
Yeah, because
and
she
we
didn't
don't
know what was
yeah.
going to happen.
And we don't see the poop. If you've seen a movie called
yeah.
Sallow, you would know that it's very easy. It's very cheap to make fake poop.
Is it in your contract to
the
talk about
ultimate-
Sallow
yeah.
on every piece of media you go on?
There's no circumstance under which Sallow cannot be referenced.
Yeah, I can see how that's not
Well,
Justin
yeah,
Bieber.
that guy is just
That's just a guy.
to be honest, that guy looks as much like Justin Bieber as this dog shit woman looks like Mia Khalifa.
He just looks like every other person you see at Venice Beach.
yeah, they kind
good
of
point.
Dude,
Yeah.
how would this person even know it's Mia Khalifa if they didn't set it up beforehand?
Yeah, we're debunking this right now. There's no hard evidence that
Yeah.
the dog actually shit. There's no hard evidence that this wasn't a clear setup for attention, and therefore that is my final verdict. It's nonsense.
Judge
It's out of
Agee
control.
has decided.
It's as fake as Logan Paul's suicide video.
Wait,
Oh, yeah.
what's the news on that?
I don't know. I haven't watched any of them. I've just been hearing everyone saying they're fake.
Yeah, I saw someone Cabos or something posted I don't know.
Kavos
thumbnails.
and
They're
and
trying to say
Pyman
that
posted
he
some
never
stuff.
actually went to the suicide forest and that the whole thing was staged.
Someone else in that group would have come forward and
Yeah,
said that already.
they're all a bunch of attention
You
whores.
can't trust that group of people. You can't trust them to keep their mouths shut about a
True.
conspiracy such as that.
True.
So do we think that he actually killed someone on his own property and manufactured a scene?
He probably went down to the general hospital, picked up a cadaver.
Well, how likely is it that you would go to the suicide forest and actually find a corpse, though?
Well, he was
'Cause that
actually-
seems so lucky.
He was in Japan
I think,
at the
like,
time.
Yeah, I believe it was
That was real.
Every 3 days, like
There's a new body every
100
3
and some
days.
people are found in the suicide.
Yeah, they
forest each
pull a
year.
lot of bodies out of there.
Still to this day, I thought it was just like an
People
old
hate
thing.
living in Japan because they can't stand all these fucking weebs breathing down their neck all the time.
Well,
so they have no choice
yeah.
but to kill themselves at like
Yeah.
world record rates.
And they got Nintendo lording over them all over there too. I
Yeah,
mean,
this is probably just a guy who like modified game files on his Switch, and now Nintendo's trying to put him in jail and give him the electric chair. So he just took that way out instead, and then Logan Paul just happened to be there.
Hey, speaking
Lucky
of that,
day.
how is your new Nintendo video doing, Imp?
The reviews are actually more positive than I anticipated they would be.
Yeah.
Some guy though emailed me like a 16 paragraph essay going point by point on what he agreed with, what he disagreed with.
Are you gonna do a response to him? I want to
No.
hear. I want to hear one of his best points on why you're full of shit.
He
Like,
gave
what
him-
did he say?
I didn't read the whole thing, but I scrolled to the bottom.
typical.
He gave my video a B minus.
That's
good.
very
It's
acceptable.
better than
As
a
an
lot of people.
as an Asian, that's unacceptable.
Oh,
that's a good
unfortunately,
point,
That's
What,
fair.
what was the main thing that your video was even talking about? Because I don't think you explained it to me. I mean, I know I'm not really big in the video game.
Wow, Rusty, I thought you were my biggest fan.
He did not
You
watch
haven't
the
even
video.
seen the video.
I haven't watched it yet.
Well,
I watched it in the bathtub.
The thesis of the video is that Nintendo does a bunch of anti-consumer practices, but they get away with it simply because the Nintendo fan base is so delusional that they will defend the company no matter what they do and continue buying the products regardless of how overpriced they make the games. Like my favorite graphic I was working on in the video is that the Final Fantasy X HD remake, it's $29.99 on Steam, but frequently goes on sale for like half off. It's $24.99 on the PlayStation Store, and it's $49.99 on the Nintendo Store. Is there like literally any reason for that other than the fact that Nintendo's fans just tolerate it, while like every other consumer group in gaming is like, what the fuck is this?
Well, that's not Nintendo's fault. They don't own Final Fantasy, right? And the other thing is for the cartridges for the Nintendo Switch, they're quite a bit more expensive than just getting a disc. So
But,
if
like,
you have,
no, he's
double-
talking about the digital store though, right?
yeah, but they just price the digital version the same as the physical version.
I'm just saying, like, if you want to play the game, why on earth would you tolerate Nintendo selling it for $50 when you can get it on Steam for $30 and frequently $15 when it goes on sale?
Is it portable on Steam?
Well, that's kind of beside the point. It's part of a
I don't
larger.
know. Gamer from Mars is making some very
No,
compelling
so
points
hear
here
me
that I
out.
hadn't previously considered.
Hear me out. So for Final Fantasy, that's an RPG that needs a very big cartridge, and Nintendo charges for the Nintendo Switch cartridges to the companies based off what size they need. So if they need to get the storage size that was extremely big, that's a pretty pricey cartridge. So that would cost them extra to sell it on the Switch.
Maybe if they had a history of good behavior before and not blatantly overcharging consumers, I'd be more inclined to believe you. But this is a pattern of behavior that the company has done the last 5 years where they deliberately restrict supply just so that they can justify price gouging consumers.
But Nintendo didn't make this game. They had nothing to do with the price of this game would be.
Well, that's something they need to figure out how to lower the price to make it more competitive with other services that are basically offering the same product.
It's not, the other services aren't portable though.
I don't really think
It's
that
a specialty product.
I don't really think that making it portable justifies raising the price almost double.
Well, hey, listen, we have a
value of
debate.
other
We have
systems.
4 judges. And to be honest, I don't have a dog in this fight, but I think Gamer from Mars is actually making some good points here. It is a portable version of the game.
Well, I will also say that I believe Emblem was also making good points that it is in line with the track record and the whole history that was laid out in his video. It would definitely not be out of place, but there might be some other draconian standards in the gaming industry outside of what Nintendo has going on in this particular situation, which then could feed in to those particular circumstances. So I think that it's a very interesting situation.
I think that the point that Emp is making right now is a little bit weaker than some of the points he made in his video. Like what I would say, the thing with Nintendo that I never really understood. I mean, I understood it, but I didn't get why people were okay with it. Was like the limited time releases, like of the Mario one, and then wasn't like what you bought in there. It was essentially just an emulated.
Yeah.
It was just an emulated.
It's an emulator with less features than you can get for free on Dolphin.
Like that, I think that's a real problem. If you have a Switch and you got to pay $50 to play a portable version of it, I think that's understandable. I would never do it myself, but if they have the money, and they want to spend it on that, then fine.
Although in a way, isn't the Steam one portable if you have a laptop?
Yeah, no, but it's not portable in the same sense that like you could be like in the subway, or you could be like sitting in the back of your grandparents' cars. They're taking you to the little cottage.
I think we have to leave it up to Rusty. Then I think we're all spread out a little bit.
Well, I mean, Nintendo made Breath of the Wild. Shouldn't they be able to do whatever they want?
Rusty's right.
Yeah. So here's what really sucks. So I don't know if this is all systems doing this, but Nintendo seems to be very guilty of it. It's just like they just keep releasing fucking 20-year-old games like side scrollers that people have long since played, and I guess that's cool, but it's annoying when that's really the only good thing coming out of it.
I think the thesis of the video, the problem is not necessarily that Nintendo does these things. It's that they get enabled and rewarded by a fan base who is way more tolerant than pretty much any other consumer base other than possibly Disney.
Apple
Apple
users put up with so much stuff.
I fucking listen. I got a bunch of, you can see I obviously have like Apple products, Apple computers, but I fucking hate Apple. Like the whole dongle system, like just taking away the headphone jack and trying this whole thing of like, oh, let's do lightning cables. And then realizing, of course, that wasn't the fucking way of the future. It was going to be USB-C. So now you have to have like another dongle just to adapt from lightning to USB-C and to keep up with all other technology. I don't know. I feel like they're going to start pissing people off, but Apple users.
It hasn't really seemed to happen yet.
Well, Amp, which fan base is worse, Nintendo fanboys or Apple fanboys?
Or Redditors?
Well, I've had way more negative
What's the
experiences with Nintendo fanboys than anyone related to Apple. I've shit on Apple before on Twitter, no problem. People are like, Apple can kind of suck. The second I open my mouth anything about Nintendo, dozens and dozens of fanboys just want my head on a platter. But like, Jesus Christ, people get personally offended when you say anything about Nintendo because their identity is just a huge chunk of people online. Their identity is just literally wrapped up
a bunch
in
of
Nintendo and their
video
characters.
games.
I will say that the way that I found out about Emp's Nintendo video, I'm subscribed to him, so I would have seen it if I had opened up YouTube first that day. But I actually opened up 4chan first, and it was there was a thread that had his YouTube picture on there, and they're like, why? Like, what was he thinking? And I'm like, this is gonna be about Emp. And all of a sudden I started like looking through it, and like everybody's talking about Emp, and I'm like, whoa, what's going on? So I had to like run right over to YouTube and watch the video. And I did enjoy the video. And I'm not really a fanboy of anything. So
which board were you on?
The film and television board.
They were talking about
TV.
Emp's Nintendo video.
Why would they be on
talking
VG?
about? Well, yeah. Why?
I'm sure there was. I mean, I would imagine there was probably some threads on the video game board, and maybe somebody from the video game board went over to like talk about it on, because YouTubers will get discussed on the film and television board on 4chan. But
well, thankfully Kino posted a Sneed's Feed and Seed thread, and it bumped the Imp Lemon one off.
Yeah. Thanks for running that damage control for me.
Yeah,
money well spent.
I have so many Sneed's Feed and Seed memes on my computer. I got the Come and See ones. I got the Oppenheimer ones.
Come and Sneed.
Come and Sneed. Yeah.
The thing with the Nintendo video is, I agree that almost everything you said was absolutely true, and I've been complaining about it for years. But I don't think they do it out of greed. I think they're just
incompetent.
Well, I think
they're just weird. They make amazing games like Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Odyssey. But the other downside to that is that they just make weird, erratic decisions that don't make sense to anyone in the outside world.
Well, yeah, a lot of people have made that argument. I don't think I touched on it that much in the video, where it's sort of a way that Japanese business is conducted, where it's like very impersonal, almost Machiavellian, and justifies the means. They don't really care about what the customers think. Really, it's more about being satisfied with the product they want to make, and that's partially what's contributed to why Nintendo has such a good track record of making great games. But again, it completely causes their sort of customer relations to fall apart, and it leads to a bunch of just really bad faith actions.
Because going back to the point about the Super Mario collection, they put 3 games on a disc. They're just emulators. They're emulations of old video games. They sell for full price for $60. But at the same time, they put a limit of 6 months to buy it. Now you say limited scarcity, but if they didn't do that and they just said, hey, this is a game available from now on, and they just had limited scarcity for maybe the physical copy of it, they would make more money that way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like they make more money doing it that way. When I go online to try to buy a brand new Smash Bros controller that came with the Switch version a couple years back, Nintendo just doesn't sell it anymore. So you go online and they're selling for $80 on Amazon. Nintendo would make more money if they just kept on building that little piece of plastic, selling it for $30.
So I mean, so why would they consolidate like all the 3 Mario games onto one? Like that's
just what they do, weird things. And why didn't they put Super Mario Galaxy 2 on the disc?
Yeah. They had Super Mario Galaxy 1, but not 2.
The business theory is that they can justify selling it for a higher price if they restrict the supply.
But you say yourself that Nintendo fans will buy anything no matter what. You don't have to put the limited scarcity on it to get Nintendo fans to buy it.
Well, they're probably just testing the waters to see what they can get away with. This is what YouTube does by just experimenting on like 1% of channels before implementing a feature for everything, and it becomes their standard. Nintendo's probably just trying to see if the game will still sell well regardless compared to, I don't know, a similar release that they've done.
Here's my theory for the Mario collection. I know not 10% of the audience even cares at this point, but I think
don't underestimate our audience.
Yeah, I don't think that Nintendo even wanted to make that collection. I think that was a nuisance. They did not want to even release that, but COVID screwed up their release schedule and it delayed a ton of their games. So they're like, oh shoot, we don't have a holiday release. Fine, give them some of those old games that they've been asking for. We really don't want to do this. Let's just give it to them for a short period of time. Keeps our numbers high for an empty schedule for the holiday season.
Those came out during Christmas?
Yeah, they said let's not put out Galaxy 2. They'll buy just 3. They did the bare minimum. People bought it. It made them the money. Yeah. And it kept their schedule filled in for a quarter where they had to delay their other releases for the next year.
Yeah, that's plausible.
That's the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You're really jogging my noggin, and that's what I like. I like to be intellectually stimulated and think outside the box.
If we want to move on from
or
Nintendo,
the digital download, if you will.
We
We
could talk more about the 4th of July, extravaganza party that's been going on nonstop all week. And I thought it was fun that, on the 4th, it was on the 3rd when we went and saw Boss Baby 2.
Yes.
But that was when Rusty threw his official big party where he invited, I guess, everybody in Gainesville, and there were about 40 people here. And all the weird YouTuber people left that party to go see Boss Baby 2 and then came back.
And I don't regret it one bit.
No, I don't either.
Yeah, I think it's... I've never left a party before to go see DreamWorks movie in theaters and then come back. So
yeah, I've never left a party before to go see Boss Baby 2 Family Business.
Yeah, once in a lifetime opportunity, and we pulled it off.
So true. The only time that I could think of a similar situation happening was leaving a party to go and purchase some party enhancers, if you will. That I might have had to travel into some different towns and back alleys and done hand-to-hand transactions with people in trench coats, and then come back to the party and don't remember who was even there. Like, who's that guy? What address was this? You might have broken into a couple of homes anywhere there. If especially the party season, it's not like it's just any Friday night. It's like 4th of July, so you might just drive anywhere and be like, hey, I think I saw that guy before. I think this is right. And then all of a sudden you're in somebody's backyard and it's the next day.
Well, this was like one of the things. To all of us. I mean, with this party in general was like, I kind of just wanted to tell a few of my, closer IRL friends, and then someone would overhear, or it would be in a group of people and they say, oh, you're doing something tomorrow? I'm like, all right, yeah, I guess you can come too. And then, hey, can I bring my friends who are out of town? I'm like, sure.
Well, Rusty, we didn't talk about this. Did we miss any party fouls while we were all out of the house?
I don't really remember.
Are you were wasted the whole night?
He was
and you
busy
don't
making
remember?
mosquito oysters.
Oh yeah, man. The mosquitoes were terrible, and apparently mosquitoes love fucking oysters. I guess the biggest foul is that we didn't end up eating all those oysters. I kind of feel bad just for like
How much are left over? Like 10 pounds?
Yeah, I don't know, a good amount, but I had to just dump them in the corner of my yard. Like, I don't know how you dispose of like
That's
trash day
horrible,
isn't for
dude.
another.
Was that why we found the alligator outside?
Yeah, the baby
today?
gators
Probably
trying to
at
come in and
dinner.
try
There was
to
an
eat it.
alligator out there. It was probably sniffed that.
You have
the
rotting
oyster-
seafood in the corner of your yard?
All right, so I either dump it in the farthest part of my yard, or I dump
Put
it
it in
my,
the garbage.
and
It's
so then,
rotting seafood.
And so then I have rotting seafood in my fucking trash can.
Put it
right
at the
in front
end
my
of the
house.
street.
And
Aren't they
but trash
contained?
day isn't. You know how much trash we produce so far? I'm gonna be
Yeah.
like filling up a dumpster.
We have filled 3 trash bags a day every day so far.
I'm afraid to look inside that trash can. Too, 'cause I already know. I know there's flies that got in there, and there's just gonna be
God.
maggots. So I
Maybe
just
the God's plague.
here's
of
what would happen
flies.
if I put those oysters in there. It would first off, it'd be a ridiculous ecosystem of everything. A dead raccoon would be in there. But,
Wheel of Punishment 3, get in the dumpster.
yeah, no, yeah. Wheel of Punishment 3 would be take out the trash and open up the lid. 'Cause it would be horrific.
Wheel of Punishment 3 is like clean Rusty's house.
I was driving down the streets and I drove past Rusty's garbage can and the air was a different color. It was like, like how you're
like in The
crawling through
Sims when it's
desert.
green.
It's the mirage, like the air was like turning horizontal around the garbage can. It was pretty interesting. But I will say this, as someone who is, I just had last year with everything that happened with the pandemic, we had like an interruption to our trash service, and I couldn't even go. They shut the dump down. I tried to take my garbage to the dump in the other county. They wouldn't do it because I didn't have a valid address in that county. But anyway, so I would just take garbage bags and I would just set them in inconspicuous areas, like next to my garage or whatever, kind of just waiting. So that's probably, if I was tasked with disposing of seafood, I would probably bag it.
Just
And,
dump it
I
somewhere.
guess I don't know when you say you dumped it in the yard. I mean, do you mean like it was literally like physically like loose in the yard?
You know what I
Like,
think you should do?
I mean, it's
is-
in a pile in the very far corner.
Okay, so yeah, I would
You-
probably
yeah.
bag that until the appropriate time.
Oh,
but-
I'm just building a fence around it, so there's gonna be like a small square that is no longer my yard.
Just the exclusions are the
You know-
Chernobyl of Gainesville.
Yeah.
You know what you should do if you want to get your hands dirty a little bit? People will buy the oyster shells
really?
off of you. Yeah, if you can like grind them down a bit, that's what you feed chickens to make sure that their eggs are.
Calcium.
Oh,
yeah,
well,
it gives them
whatever.
calcium.
I remember last year I was in the Florida Panhandle driving to Apalachicola, which Kino coincidentally happens to be wearing on his shirt right now. But we passed by this place and there was like a giant mound of oyster shells that was like
Oh yeah.
35 feet tall.
Wait, was that in Apalachicola?
It was like at around the outskirts of the town, I think.
Yeah. I know exactly where you're talking about. It's kind of close to the bridge where the all the boats go out from.
Yeah.
I was just in Apalachicola.
So do you think that whole thing is just for chicken feed?
No, they do the oyster shells for different things, but yeah, I mean, just because it's like a really good source of calcium, there's a lot of vitamins in there if you can really kind of break it
Well,
down.
I'm just bringing that up because Rusty, you have to beat the record.
Oh, just the biggest pile of oysters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just oysters that I murdered leaving them in the cooler overnight, and the water melts, so then they just drowned in fresh
Like,
water.
Yeah, I don't really look at oysters as animals. Like I know that fish technically are animals, but you can't convince me that something like a sea urchin is an animal. Like what the hell is like? Have you seen a sea urchin?
Yeah, I know. It's an
I would like
abomination
to
of God.
offer
Yeah.
a rebuttal. We're all made of stardust, and we are one with the cosmos.
Carl Sagan once
So-
said,
Like fish
"These
are
nuts
plants.
Harambe."
Fish. Yeah.
Did he?
see-
He said that?
Gamer from Mars. Is there a video that you wanted to make that just didn't fit your brand, or was like too fucking weird for YouTube, or do you just kind of make anything that you want?
Never too weird. Usually I'm able to figure it out. If I do have an idea that I can't do, it usually just kind of goes in the maybe later pile.
Uh-huh.
So nothing ever quite goes away, but I have 1,000 ideas for videos. Well, it's kind of weird. if you told me make a list of 1,000 video ideas, I could probably do it.
True. Now, did you do that by just the name alone? Because like just talking to you over the past few days, it seems like you have a concept that like this concept would sell. Therefore, that's like almost like just the title of the series is enough to make the series work.
That's all that matters. You need to have the concept for the title and the thumbnail, and then I could build a video around it. Because if you watch my Internet Mysteries, a lot of the time what I do is I figure out a concept for a video. Like I did one recently about this old video from 2015 I remembered where this maid was dangling off a 7-story balcony and she fell. She survived, but she fell down. And I had the idea of having a thumbnail where she's hanging for her life and then making it look like the video is a snuff film that you're about to click on.
Right.
But that story is only a couple minutes long. There's not much to it. So what I do is I make a little intro to the video.
He puts in NordVPN ads, Raid Shadow Legends ads.
3-minute ad for Viking War of Clans.
ExpressVPN. But, no. What I do is I make the video start off by rambling about the modern day slave trade, and then I make the second half of the video about some other irrelevant story about another person that was kind of
like Vsauce, like where it just kind of jumps all around.
Yeah, except I only do 2 stories, and then I sandwich them in between a really out of place sponsored message.
And then you get a bunch of hate comments, and then Turkey Tom makes a video about you, and then everyone just forgets and tunes into the next one.
Yeah. And speaking of Turkey Tom, where is he?
He was supposed to be here. He was invited.
Yeah, he was invited. And
I personally sent an invitation to him on a silver platter carried by a bunch of doves and messenger pigeons.
Well,
and then
Monkey
2 days
left the room, so I mean, it might have been related to the fact that Monkey was here and they have this weird beef.
I don't think so. No, Tom just told me last week. I was like, "Oh, hey Tom, I can't wait to finally see you in real life this weekend." He goes, Keno, what are you talking about? And I'm like, well, aren't you going to Rusty's place? He goes, oh shit, I forgot. I'm like, how could you forget?
He's probably just too high.
Yeah.
On life.
He said he had
making all that YouTube income.
He said he had family in the area too.
Yeah, he does. He does. He does.
There's no excuse. Turkey Tom, no excuse.
Well, I mean, I can confirm that Turkey Tom has family in the area because we were driving last night, I think it was, and Turkey walked out in front of us. So, I mean, that's a visual confirmation that there are turkeys in the area.
Oh, we saw a turkey at the local state preserve down at the swamps.
Yeah, and we saw a baby alligator today in Rusty's front yard.
Oh, well, I guess next time we just got to invite Jeremiah the Gamer, because clearly he's more of a
really bringing it back.
Member. Yeah.
In the words of Keemstar, why is your name Turkey Tom when you're not even a turkey?
He just changed his name to Monster Slipknot Listening Tom. Dyed Fingernail Tom.
Did he start that whole name yourself after a bird thing? Because he had John Swan. Is
John Swan's name not John Swan?
It's James Swainpool.
You named 2. Is there a third one?
No, there was more. Oh, there's that artist, a flamingo artist. No, there's a few. I noticed a lot of them on Twitter.
Did Turkey Tom just rip off Monkey Jones? Because I know he was a fan before he started, and he's a big fan of Emp.
Turkey Emperor Tom Lemon.
Yeah, that's even closer.
Huh? Yeah.
We solved the mystery.
What's your honest opinion about podcasts?
I hate them.
Yeah, I know
hate
you do.
Whenever I'm
asking you, Emp.
Whenever I'm confronted with the idea of listening to a podcast, I turn into the pink bleeding Wojak.
Yeah. Yeah, we know you hate him until you want to start a new one about fucking finances.
No, that's not a podcast. That is a life-changing seminar, which our fans can get into.
Are there any episodes up yet?
As we speak, the Moneysuckle team is hard at work at posting the first episode, which actually should be an interview with 4chan 500 CEO.
4chan 500?
Yeah, Eggman.
Well, you're throwing out the episode I did? Or was I in that one?
I think that guy. I think that Monkey or whatever his name is. I think he was in that one too. But
good.
I mean, I'm telling you, Moneysuckle, I sat down, I said words that I've heard other people say, and I'm like, wow, I'm so smart. I really felt like I knew something in life, and I really opened my eyes.
And everyone, you can be smart too by
just subscribing to the channel. That would be
Moneysuckle channel.
What about you, Gamer from Mars? Do you hate podcasting?
No, I listen to podcasts. I always.
What are your top three favorite podcasts?
Yeah.
Top 3. Well, number 1 podcast of all time is Norm Macdonald Live.
Yeah, definitely.
That's the only podcast that I've watched every episode of. Like, even if I didn't care about the guest and he had some random 90-year-old comic that no one ever heard of.
That was great, man. He'd have, like fucking Carl Reiner. He's like 95 years old.
He had some other dude. At least Carl Reiner was with it. There was this other guy. He was
Jack something.
He was on death's door. And he was sitting in like a chair that they brought in for him, and he just mumbled.
Yeah.
You couldn't make out what he said. Still, my favorite thing about the Norm Macdonald podcast was his brand deals. I still remember the greatest sponsored message of all time was when he had a Dollar Shave Club spot. And he said, "These razors are so sharp you could slit your wife's throat with them."
Did he lose that?
He got paid, I guess.
No, dude.
Well,
something like that happened to me, where I think like the first integration I had on YouTube was with Dollar Shave Club, and the initial script I sent them was that you could the razors are like so good that you could kill yourself with them by like cutting your neck. And they rejected it not because of graphic content, but it's because they didn't want to imply that their razors had like blunt defects that could like cut you easily.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it's interesting. The other thing he said about Dollar Shave Club, he's like, "Yeah, Dollar Shave Club, it's $1 a month. That's like $10 a year."
Yeah, I know he lost the
man
grill.
grate.
Yeah, the man grate. Yeah.
Because he'd start off, the ad was basically promoting it as a Father's Day gift. So he'd knowingly ask the guest who has a dead father, "Hey, is your dad still alive?"
Hey,
and
your dad's still alive. No,
and
he's
they'd be
not.
like, "No, he's passed away." "Ah, sorry about your dad. Anyway, man grate."
Well, now, Art, this is lesser known by sort of the normies in the audience, but you run an advertising company that brings sponsorships to YouTubers. And of course, you save the best sponsorships for yourself.
Well, I'm the guinea pig. So
Right.
a lot of the time, if we have a new company and we're kind of iffy on if they'll actually pay people, I'll be the sacrificial lamb of sorts.
I just want to know, like, what's the sketchiest company you've worked with so far? I remember, like, earlier this year, you were doing something with, like, Lolly.
Yeah,
where they're,
so
like,
it was-
paying you
It was basically honey, except instead of getting rebates back and points, you got Bitcoin. But they named the company Lolly, which is
Terrible name.
a terrible name.
So that's like
I think
lollipops, like the candy.
I think one of
Yeah.
Monkey's collaborators from the past would be really into this.
Yeah, I think Digibro started that company actually.
Yeah, it's I don't know. They had major funding. They paid. I apparently I did very well. I got a lot of conversions, but
Has a company ever not paid you?
there was this one company where it was based in all these places that manage people's sponsored message dollars spending. A lot of them, it's just bizarre sometimes. It was this German-based company, and they came to me with some Chinese app game, and they said they wanted me to be the spokesperson for a massive campaign that they'd be doing on Facebook and Snapchat and Instagram. They wanted me to be the face of it.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, that's amazing. And they said, we have this much money. And it wasn't much, but I just liked the aspect of being the face of an ad campaign that would be seen by like millions of people.
You want to be the dark triad, constantly surveilling the people of China.
Yeah. So if they went to, union actors, it would be an outrageous amount that they would have to pay, I'm sure.
Yeah,
but
YouTubers.
I did it for a very low amount of money. I basically didn't charge for my likeness. I just charged for the work of me making the ad. So
Now, do you know if they're actually using it? Like, is this an ad that only is airing in China or something? Or
I didn't get the details. They just said it was like this massive campaign all across social media. Because have you ever seen those ads on Instagram where it's like a guy playing the game in the corner of the screen? And they're like, whoa, I better use my troops this way. And then they...
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So I'm guessing it was something along those lines. So I don't know. They gave me the script. I did it as they asked me to. Then... Oh, yeah, the Chinese people, they also said they love my content. They were like big fans.
How?
I have no idea. I don't know why they reached out to me. They didn't want anyone else. They
Well,
just wanted me.
In China, you can't even watch YouTube. It's blocked by the government.
Yeah, we didn't even reach... Well, Chinese companies, they're allowed to... As long as it's making the country money and it's growing their businesses, they'll allow people to
They make
work.
an exception
They
on
make
the firewall.
exceptions. But anyway, we didn't even reach out to these people. They came to me because this Chinese company specifically wanted me to be the mascot for this ad campaign.
That sounds so fucking bizarre. Like they're lying to you to scam you or something. I don't know.
So I kind of...
You said they didn't pay you?
Well, I'll get to that. So I go and I do it. I do it as I do all my sponsored messages. I just sit in front of my camera and I just read it off. And then I give it to them. And they're like, no, this is not anything like you usually do. And I'm like, we're like, what are you talking about? They're like, they want it like you usually do it. Then they send me a link to my 10-year anniversary video, which was like this really heartfelt video that's not like any of the other videos on my channel. So some guy in China watched my 10-year anniversary video and none of the other videos on my channel. And he assumed that's what I did. And he's like, I want that guy to be the face for our app.
Yeah.
And then when I didn't deliver that for them, they said, no, we want it redone. And we looked at the contract and nowhere in the contract did it say I needed to redo it. I said, no, pay me. I'm not putting up with your games. You should have told me this. I'm done with this, because we're having a little bit more of a problem with them.
But like, why would they watch only that video? I don't think that video even got a lot of views.
No, it didn't. No, it was like my worst performing video of the year.
So like, how did they see it instead of all the other ones?
I don't know. So there's like this language barrier. So we're in America. We're dealing with this German company. They're dealing with this Chinese company. And it just, at the end of the day, I didn't get paid. So
yeah, and also it's like a cup and ball like slider. You don't even know who's responsible. I mean,
yeah. So
these companies, sorry, they're really sketchy. It's like I'll get an email in broken English, and it turns out it is the actual company that was running Raid Shadow Legends. But I was like, I'm just fucking giving some like slight banking information.
Yeah, there's like the Russians, right?
Yeah,
it's like these Russians that run the syndicate of Raid Shadow Legends spots. It's bizarre, but they pay on time always.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing that I think made the Raid Shadow Legends such a big meme was like they didn't allow anyone to really make the ad their own. Like they gave you a minute and a half to read every single point that they had listed word for word, and that means you had to talk fast just to get all of it out.
The worst thing is that they force you to put all those emojis in your video description, and it immediately makes you look like a super cringe YouTube loser.
You guys aren't negotiating with them.
How do you negotiate with the Russians?
We do it.
Well, here's what I did. I will say this. With one of the Raid Shadow Legends, I made a mistake. I probably never do this. I had to do like a free ad for him. And so I just did it at gunpoint. Like I was just scared reading off the paper as a shadow of a gun pointed at me. And they said, "Yeah, that's fine." Okay.
Yeah, they don't understand. Either they don't understand or they just don't care. Like if content's offensive, they just care if you do what they say. And
I do like that aspect,
but you can negotiate with them. They'll give you a hard time, but they usually just have to ask the manager or the higher up.
True.
I mean, look at Internet Historian. You know, all of his Raid Shadow Legends ads are nothing like what you normally see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he still had to put the stupid emojis in his description.
He probably just didn't fight that point. I mean, at the end of the day, is it really? It's just not worth it.
It bothers me so much. I don't know. It's just like the optics of like.
I've come around to emojis? I have the ironic enjoyment of emojis now, so it doesn't bother me at all.
Same here.
I have a lot of comedy videos that get recommended to me on YouTube, and like it's something that you're going to see in every single one. I've just kind of gotten used to it now, but it'll be like, guy says funny stuff, and then there's like 10 like laughing, crying.
I mean, like I watch Family Guy Funny Moments compilation too, but I guess my problem is that these emojis are like on the description of people who like never in a million years put like emojis in their description. That's the part that bothers me.
The audience knows that it's just copy pasted.
I don't know. It's like an OCD thing.
I don't think that like YouTubers spend a whole lot of time just reading through the descriptions either. I think there's a lot more just passive clicking.
Probably my favorite highlights in the Raid Shadow Legends advertisements on YouTube universe was when Justin Wang did one, and he got like some people like, "Oh, don't do that," and then he was like on Twitter like screen capping like his like group was like getting to like a high level. He's like, "No, I'm really playing it." He's like, I play it every day. He's like, "I'm actually playing it. I'm actually enjoying it or whatever." And everyone's like, "No, you're not."
By the way, I started playing the Family Guy, another freaking mobile game. So I'll take any sponsorship from those developers if they're listening.
Do you have any
Imp loves
ethics?
the mobile
Any of
games.
you have any ethics in any ads you'll take?
Well, I'll never take a raid ad. I'm sorry. I've done like ads for some pretty sketchy,
Yeah, you sell
like embarrassing
snake
companies.
oil.
Yes, but I won't do raid.
Yeah, but what percentage of your audience has hair loss that they need this fucking hair loss?
It's
oil
not hair.
so
It's
bad?
potential hair loss. So
Well-
it could be any of them.
Your fans are like 12,
Potential.
potentially 12.
They have to be 18 to use the stuff.
Well, maybe if that's the age range I'm going for, I could sell them lolly.
Yeah.
If I were
would
to do ads,
I'll go ahead, Egg.
yeah, I would probably say the best ones that I see personally as someone who is not at the level to be contacted for ads at this point, or probably ever if they have any common sense anyway. But like Bright Sellers, let's see, there was a knife sponsorship from on this cooking channel. There's just certain ones are like Blue Apron. Some of those are like, I don't know, those are ones that I as a viewer find more captivating. Or what's the other one? Fair Trade Coffee. I forget what they call it.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Like something that you actually use the product and kind of feel like you could talk freely about.
Right. Versus sometimes it'll be like, once again, not to preemptively, cripple myself from getting a sponsorship one day or whatever, but there's some certain products out there to where if you look into it, or people might get a little critical of it, like, oh, well, I could get this thing you're advertising over here for a similar quality or whatever for this cheaper price, whereas some of these subscription services like Bright Sellers or whatever, it's just like there's not anything else out there that's going to be like really radically different. It's going to be sort of like a comparable service if anyone else is competing with it. So it's like you don't really have that thing in the back of your mind as a very like critical individual to where you're going to be like having that sort of hang up about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me.
Well, what's fucking annoying is when YouTube audiences like turn on a company. Like some fucking retard dipshit made a video about, oh, Raycons, I don't like them. They belong in the trash.
I despise the smug YouTubers that make condescending videos about other creators' sponsored messages.
Oh,
from
you should
companies
have
that do
heard
nothing
the
wrong.
first episode of State of the YouTube podcast. Emp was just railing for about an hour about BetterHelp and all the
And Ethan
unethical.
Klein.
Yeah, and Ethan Klein doing it.
Ethan Klein, his stock went down. BetterHelp, who
It's
knows?
still
where they're
going
now.
down.
No,
Yeah.
Philip DeFranco just made a video finally coming forward because BetterHelp's now doing ads with Ariana Grande and all these people. Like it's now mainstream.
Oh,
And
now it's a problem.
No,
for
he's come out.
everybody.
He's like, that was the darkest time of my life. I never let on. But the harassment I dealt with from those people, because people don't realize if you go back, there was like this grand conspiracy about BetterHelp
That we perpetuated on this show.
YouTubers were faking their mental illness so then they could cure it by using BetterHelp. There was
Holy
people.
shit.
I'm not going to name the YouTubers that were perpetuating this, but
You
some of
can name them on this show.
No,
Nobody
I'm
listens.
not doing it. You can look it up.
I know one of them.
They were
Well,
going
Kino,
around.
will you say it?
Will I say it?
Yes, say the name. I want to know who.
All right. Is this okay?
I'm not going to confirm or deny.
Yeah,
This is the person.
you won't confirm or deny, but Memology 101.
Okay.
Faked having mental illness in order
No.
to...
Memology 101 was like the big YouTuber, and that's actually, I think, how he got big as a YouTuber. He was like nothing before, and then he made all these BetterHelp videos. I remember Ethan Ralph brought him onto the Kill Stream, and they were, and then it got to the Kill Stream audience. He's like, I mean, Memology just makes like these like kind of slideshow type videos, it's like, but it's good, I guess, for showing on a stream. And then it went to the Kill Stream audience, which is of course the best audience on the internet. And then it just kind of spread like wildfire.
Yeah, I will say that his videos were the ones that put me on to the situation. Because, I mean, yeah, he had like 6 or 7 parts, that spoke on it. And I was like, holy smokes. Because there was one particular jolly, rotund individual involved who then later got into some other legal consequences, who was like, at that time, I had never heard anything negative about that man. And then all of a sudden, like, I started hearing that he was like doing some things with that BetterHelp company. I'm like, oh, what? Yeah, what's he? I thought he was all jolly and whatever. But yeah, I do remember when those videos were coming out. And that's one thing too for me. Like, there's like this is my personal opinion. Like on a level from like Bright Cellars wine to like consumer goods to like this sort of like mental health helpline. That's like the descending slide of like comfortable to try to make money off of endorsing without really having all the wherewithal behind it, to me.
I saw a Bright Cellars wine ad the other day, and it was on like a basketball channel. I'm like, how the hell did they sponsor? Like, I don't know if it's just
Something
me,
mainstream?
but it seems like the basketball sports viewing audience is not really the target demographic of like refined wine tasting.
I think that kind of plays into it though from the sponsorships I see about it, because it's like, hey, I know you don't drink wine because you never would. But guess what? If you click this button, it's going to give you the best wine that you've ever tasted. It's going to use special technology to find out exactly what wine you like. And then when we ship it to you, tell us if you like it or not. If there's something we could change next month, we're going to automatically adapt it to be even better. And so it's like, I don't know, there's something about that to me as a total, like know nothing about any of it. I'm like, ooh, kind of hands off in a good way. I'm giving you a little bit of information. You're going to use that to adapt to my needs. The premise of it, seems good.
So I just wanted to get
I wanted to get
back BetterHelp. I don't know if Memology was saying that people are like faking their mental illnesses. I just know that he was probably he was like the guy that kind of started this whole thing, and then the kill stream happened, and then I think what really blew it up was PewDiePie made a video on it.
I don't remember who said what, but I remember it got to the point where they were claiming that Boogie2988 was lying about his mental illness to then sell BetterHelp. Who in their right mind would think Boogie is lying about his mental illness? Like, that's so absurd.
I think he's privately messaged all of us talking about it, so
Well,
we all know it's real.
At the same time, like the Boogie hate was going as well. So it like these two like big agendas coincided, but together it just doesn't even make sense.
Philip DeFranco was getting really big, so they wanted to kind of knock him down a peg. They made it a conspiracy, like, oh, Philip DeFranco is like running this scheme of selling Keeps ads. No, sorry, not Keeps. The BetterHelp ads to everyone behind the scenes, and he's running this conspiracy.
Which is what you're doing
now. That's what I do. I get in touch with the company, then I reach out to YouTubers that I think are a good fit, and I negotiate the deal where the YouTuber gets the brand deal and I take a little cut of it. That's what Philip DeFranco was doing. And like people acted like that was some sort of conspiracy theory.
They've never taken a business 101 class.
Well, they were like, oh, he was doing this behind the scenes. No kidding. Why would he be telling his audience?
He's going to show everybody.
Why would he be telling his audience about that?
He's going to live stream himself calling up BetterHelp to get a deal.
That's where Philip DeFranco makes a lot of his money, is just those sponsored messages. I think he helps some other podcasts get the sponsorships too.
Now, do you think 5,000 views over the course of 6 months on a podcast is enough to get a?
Yeah, what's the shittiest company you can offer us that will do this show?
I mean, Raid will probably pay you like $50.
Raid won't. They won't work with me anymore because I refused to play the game. So they didn't like my ad because I was supposed to say, "Oh, come join my clan" or whatever the fuck, and I said, "I'm not going to do that part."
I know. I remember. I was like, I'm not going to be playing any of my fans. I barely can get past the first like intro. It's almost unplayable.
Yeah, there's a learning curve, but the people really like that game.
Really,
you got to get good.
Oh, okay.
It sounds like it's just addicting.
There's a dedicated audience. It's pretty complex.
It's
and
basically
if you get
the Dark
into
Souls.
All right, I really honestly looked at it. I was like, this is just like some kind of weird scam mobile game where you constantly have to play.
Hey, listen, that game is developed by extremely intelligent tech companies in Israel, and so it probably has some good mechanics to it. I've never played it at all, and I never will, but it's probably got something to it.
Like I remember Turkey Tom made a video and in it he was mocking the Raid Shadow Legends spots, and he's like, "Look at these terrible reviews for the game." And I'm thinking to myself, you could go on any single video game anywhere and search 1-star reviews and then read those off.
Somebody should start a YouTube channel like that.
People do that with BetterHelp too.
Like, what if there's a YouTube channel where like some idiot just read off all the 1-star reviews of a popular thing?
Sounds like it could be pretty successful.
What would you call that channel, Rusty, if you made one?
Well,
probably like Whining Way.
Kino
like,
Corner. You probably that's a pretty catchy.
Yeah,
name.
something in the
Wait.
corner. Yeah,
Yeah.
but like, is he complaining about
Like
stuff?
no.
No,
Complaint corner or something?
doesn't Gus and Eddie do something just like
No,
that?
we're making fun of Amp Lemon right now.
Oh, the complaint corner.
Yeah, he has a channel where he does that.
Yeah, the complaint.
Is that
corner.
supposed to
I don't know why you're
secret?
mentioning me. I've like barely ever heard of this channel.
I mean, you always see those like eating at the worst underground cafe in Siberia, videos or whatever. They're always hitting the algorithm in certain types of ways. So if you did like, when you go into the app stores, they'll have like, different genres or whatever. Or you can even go onto Amazon. Like you can break down any of these subcategories and be like, worst water faucet ever.
Number 15.
I remember it's crazy that's one of those genres where one person figured it out one day and then everyone just started doing it. Like, going to the worst review tattoo parlor and getting a tattoo there. And you get a couple million views off that easy.
It's just like how Chief Keef saved the rap game in 2012 by reinvigorating it. I agree.
Wait, so Monkey, as a Complaint Corner subscriber, has he made a video about Raid Shadow Legends yet?
I'm actually not a subscriber. The people on our Discord found it and they were freaking out because they're like, I can't tell if it's Emp. And I took one listen and realized that this is fucking Emp. Nobody else sounds like this.
No.
Dude,
Yeah,
like,
I
you
remember-
had fucking like Rusty with a minion in one of your thumbnails.
Yeah, yeah.
Like who else is
Pretty
putting
sure I mean
Rusty
the
Cage
branding.
minions in their thumbnails?
It's probably someone on your Discord that is just making
good
the
impression of
account.
you.
Yeah, it was.
We sound nothing alike.
It was Robel.
I don't know what you're listening
It was
to.
another Asian.
Yeah, Robel did it.
I think we all just need to thank Raid Shadow Legend for the amount of money they injected into the YouTube
Yeah.
ecosystem after the adpocalypse
Well,
happened.
this is my greater point where you get this person, someone or whatever, complaining like, oh, VPNs, they're just a scam. And then someone goes like, oh, Raycons, these Chinese earbuds I bought off of Alibaba are $30 cheaper.
And they look similar, so they must be the same thing.
I'm like, okay, maybe the Alibaba headphones can pay me on YouTube to make videos then. Oh, what? They're not going to? Huh?
People just.
I guess gotta stick with Raycon then.
People
Peop-
want to be cool
yeah.
and just hate on whatever it
Yeah,
is.
but then idiot.
Listen,
like,
it's fine to be
impressionable fans,
critical.
like,
You're welcome to be critical.
people are like linking that whenever someone makes a Raid ad or a Raycon ad, and like as it's actual substantive evidence as how it's like a defective product or something. And you go to the video and the guy's like, I tested the sound and I really didn't like it. So these Raycons, they belong in the trash. Use these $30 off Alibaba earbuds instead.
Meanwhile, AirPods cost what, $250? How much
Yeah.
do you think they're making those for in China?
Yeah, right. No, I mean the idea that like, wait, you're saying that they make these products for cheaper and then they sell it at a
high markup?
higher price? Like, that's every fucking thing in the world. Also, not just to do a free ad about Raycon, but I think they're pretty fucking good.
Yeah,
They're perfectly
mine
fine.
work
I
still
use them all
after-
the time,
I have like
yeah.
first generation ones and they still work.
People, I just noticed, like, especially under your videos, people just have this, it's this idea that like you should just be doing this all for free. It should be for the love of YouTube, and you shouldn't be making any money. Like, when people they get upset at these sponsorships, or it's like they get upset at like certain videos being monetized, and like
I hate that shit. When
I'm
it's
like,
why'd you monetize this
Do
video?
you not want like free content?
yeah,
It's free for you.
Yeah,
What
it's
do you care?
exactly. Like someone has to pay for it, and everyone who does YouTube, they put a lot of time and effort into it, and even at the end of the day, a lot of us are making a little way below minimum wage. I'm monetizing
based on the amount of
everything,
time worked.
Yeah,
I've finally reached the point where I'm now making like more than minimum wage on YouTube. But for years and years, like maybe the first 4 years I was in the partner program, like if I accumulated all the hours I worked on each video versus the amount of revenue that video made, it would be way less than minimum wage.
Every YouTuber starts off making videos for free.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to start off with a love for it.
I
and
didn't make it down
Yeah,
for the first 2
But
years.
you have to eat. Like, that's the thing is you have to eat. You have to pay
I
rent.
mean, it's just the opportunity cost of working on videos rather than just working at a regular job. Something needs to compensate for that. And a lot of
Yeah.
these companies, especially when for years and years, YouTube was just blatantly screwing over their constituents and just bending to the knee of all the ad companies where freaking a video with Chief Keef saying the N-word is getting a Coke ad because WMG monetized it and ad rates across the entire site have to go down 90%. Here's the thing. Raid is paying people throughout all this. Raycon paying people, NordVPN paying people. I mean, like, what do you want YouTubers complain so much now about ad revenue. What do you want them to do? Just they get offered these free money for basically products that it doesn't really matter.
The funny thing is,
these products are sold.
I'm making enough on AdSense that I don't actually need the brand deals anymore, but it's just kind of part of how I make my videos I just keep on doing it.
Well, it's an emerging market. YouTubers are looking for ad integrations, and your company provides that service to them.
Well, and people are acting like this is something that's like new for YouTube and like this disgusting on YouTube and stuff like that. And it's like they've been doing this on radio for a long time.
All media. I mean, it's just advertising.
Dude, you know how many Minute Maid product placements I've been watching in The Sopranos?
Dude, you have fucking Flintstones selling cigarettes back.
Yeah, we need to bring that back.
Yeah.
People don't realize
YouTubers need to be selling cigarettes.
That's I agree entirely. There's probably some kind of loophole.
Yeah, RJ Reynolds, call me up. I got an impressionable 12-year-old audience.
All right, new candy flavored cigarettes. It gets you started really early. It's just a right amount of nicotine that
they
you
do sell candy cigarettes, so that's not even a joke.
Yeah, you can get it when you're under 18, but it teaches you how to do it. So when you're of age, you can buy the real stuff.
Well, like you could probably find some stuff. Once again, innovation. Innovation is always key. And also, the solution to all of this, by the way, is to be a rapper. Because basically, if you're a rapper, I follow rappers who will just chill like literally anything and everything. And they don't get any criticism. Every comment's like, yeah, let's get that bag, hustler.
Yeah.
Like every comment.
Yeah, like when Snoop Dogg takes literally every single ad integration he gets offered.
Shaquille O'Neal.
There's no problem.
I was just thinking Shaq. Like nobody gets on to Shaq, at least publicly. There's not like a weird outcry. Like what a fucking weird.
There's an understanding that what he's doing is like a legitimate business. Where somehow YouTubers, who like many of them literally depend on these.
You could go on Fiverr and pay some Andy Dick $50 to say whatever you want him to. It's
like I wonder if can you get them? Can you go on Fiverr or whatever Cameo and then pay a celebrity to do the ad read for you?
You could get celebrity endorsements from like Mike Tyson for in surprisingly low amounts of money. You get him to hold up your product and say, I love this product.
Speaking of that, for as much as people love to shit on YouTubers doing sponsored ads, did you guys see that CoffeeZilla? I think he did a couple videos on that guy from Shark Tank who has like a $1,200, I think it's on Cameo, where he'll basically just like endorse whatever the business is.
What, Kevin?
Mr. Money?
Yeah,
and Mr. Wonderful, he'll do that.
Yeah, so you pay him
Seriously.
like $1,200, and so a lot of these like scam companies, a lot of these like total bullshit companies will pay him $1,200, and he'll make a video of himself going, "This is a great company. You guys need to invest in it."
Yeah, I got a problem with this. I got a personal issue because he goes out of his way to say, all of these products that I promote, these are ones I actually really agree with or that I believe in.
And meanwhile, I'm getting shit on for selling earbuds.
I believe that I received $1,200.
There's a Cameo logo in the corner of the screen when he's saying this. So.
No, but all you have to do is just like crop in
it, I guess.
just a little bit.
Transform it into a TikTok of him saying that.
Yeah, it's like this stuff happens. And yeah, selling earbuds, selling a VPN. Look, I got a VPN code WANG. That helped me out for NordVPN. And I still use NordVPN to go in the high seas, you might say. And it's good. Like
Lowly.net.
Yeah, using Lowly.
Well, we did have one Patreon question I wanted to tackle while everybody was here, if that's okay, Rusty.
Why would people donate Patreon to YouTubers? Shouldn't they be doing it out of the love of the game?
Is it Justin Kim asking why Reactor's not here?
Close. We've got Law19 who wants to know, if Eggy is there, ask him how big his cock is.
How big is your cock, Eggy?
Well, it's large. But I'm going to bring this up because this is something I had to talk about on a live stream of mine sometime. I obviously didn't have to ever talk about this. But, over the last 3 years or so, I have gained about 70 to 80 pounds due to
of muscle.
There's probably some muscle in there, yeah.
Probably
but basically, about in 2018, I didn't get out of bed for a couple months, and I developed a deep love for a lot of alcohol every single day, just a lot. So I'm gonna tell you like this. You know what? I might have taken a little bit of a pay cut, if you understand what I'm saying. You dig what I'm saying? I might have the sea level has risen.
Oh, it didn't.
understand?
It didn't fatten up your dick.
Well, listen. Of course, I'm still rocking and rolling. I mean, it's still everything's still the way that it's supposed to be. But I gotta keep it real. I gotta lean out. I used to be the man of the town. I used to be Ric Flair. I used to be the Macho Man, Randy Savage. I used to be Neil Armstrong. I mean, I was talking about I was on the moon.
And now you're Lance Armstrong?
Yeah. You're Michael Collins.
I should be Lance Armstrong, except with all the bad stuff. I should go for a bike ride.
Rusty, has your alcoholism affected the size of your penis?
I don't believe so.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
I don't think it's the drinking specifically as opposed to the weight gain, but
I'll be there soon. I'm working.
I mean,
on building my
at least
weight up.
there's one thing I could say is that the girth is still rocking. I'm not gonna lie. There might be a bit, like a submerged inch or so.
Can we do an internet mysteries on his penis?
How big? Thumbnails. How big is it?
No, that's not good enough. It would be.
Yeah.
You're the best at coming up with them.
Yeah, what's the thumbnail for Eggy's
mimic what you
penis?
Bedhead Bernie's pretty good at mimicking it when he wants to. It's a craft. I've just been doing it for so many years that people think it's simple, but it's not. Sometimes
It's not simple. Like
to make one of my thumbnails, sometimes I sit there for 2 hours.
I try to come up with like captions as funny as you, and I just can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll often like run stuff. Like I know how much you do it, and you'll make like very different versions of the thumbnails and everything like that, and you'll run it by some of us.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I'll never commission out. I'll just keep on making my own thumbnails because I just find it so enjoyable.
Well, and when you commission it out, whoever is doing your commission will make it look like every other video that they're doing a commission for. I think we all know who we're talking about here.
Yeah. At the most, sometimes I'll get Bernie or somebody to create an asset for the thumbnail. Like I want the font of YouTube, but make it say YouTubers instead of just YouTube.
Yeah.
So I'll have Bernie make that for me, so then I could plop it onto my version of the thumbnail. But yeah, I gotta make the thumbnails myself.
I wanted
100 dead YouTubers, right?
Yeah.
Who will be missed. I want to bring up something about a thumbnail. Emp told me today that he actually, so I was in a Turkey Tom video about Live Leak, and we were talking about this. Emp was actually the thumbnail creator for Turkey Tom's video about Live Leak.
I inspired Turkey Tom's design. At first, he was going to go with some like weird, fleshy, vagina-looking eyeball thing. And I'm like, no, Tom. What you got to do is take Germa saying the imposter is sus in front of his computer, and the Live Leak logo is on there. Rusty, I can send it to you. You can put it up on the screen. But this is what I sent him. And then basically...
And it's obviously like a total shit post.
It literally inspired the composition of his thumbnail for the actual video.
He just polished it up a little bit. He took that exact same thing and just polished it up a little bit.
Yeah, because you've
This is it, by the way.
suggested... All right, hold on. Let me see this.
So this is what I suggested. And then
It's ridiculous.
if you look at what he actually went with the video, he composed the thumbnail based on this design.
Because I did that once. I forget if it was for the electric rat trap video, but I was like sending you like just mock-ups of thumbnails, and then you suggested something fucking crazy. It was like a wrestler. Do you remember what it was? It was like some wrestler being thrown onto an electric cage, maybe, or
what, like Randy Savage dropping an elbow on?
I forget what it was, but I made the mock-up.
Kane getting Kane hooking up jumper cables to Shane McMahon's nipples, but you put a rat head on Shane McMahon.
Yeah. And I sent that to Nerd, and he's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
I want to say one thing real quick too, since on the little bit of that Patreon question mixed with a little bit of this conversation on advertisers. There's something out there, a product which I will happily stand by, Ancestral Supplements, MOFO, which stands for Male Optimization Formula with Organ Meat.
Holy shit!
So basically, this is quite an expensive supplement. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's about $60 for a 30-day supply. But basically, it's capsules, which you start off on one, but I think you end up taking like 6 a day once you hit you have to have your body acclimate to it. But it's made majority, I believe, of bull testicles, and then some organ meats, and then some other vitamins. And I will tell you one thing, okay? I've taken a lot of supplements. in this vein over the years. A lot of it is nonsense. That stuff, that ancestral supplements, MOFO, I'm telling you, you're going to wake up, you're going to think that you could jump through 3 stories of concrete.
You got the
every day
spirit,
when you wake
spirit
up,
of the rushing bull in
full,
your heart.
Yeah.
When you get that, when it hits 100%, I'm telling you, I've never taken any supplement in my life that was kicking like that stuff is. So,
are we getting
ancestral
ahead of
supplements?
this
If you want to hit me
segment?
up, I'm probably not your good poster boy because I'm a fat slob, and you probably want some like shredded dude. But I'll give him a tip of the hat.
No, it's impossible what you do. Where for like 20 hours a day, you're dancing and screaming into a mic. I have no fucking idea where that energy is coming from. But now it seems like these bull testicles.
It will. It'll get you right. And also, caffeine is a big part of that. Also,
Were you on that when you were doing my favorite little clip from the Eggy stream is when you were dancing to that was it a Nightcore remix of the Bashar al-Assad song?
no, because that was about, I want to say that's like sometime in the last couple of months. And no, I was not on my supplements at that particular time. I had kind of like a little bit of a downtime, but I might have had some residual bull testicles in my body, possibly.
Well, Emp, you were the originator of State of the YouTube, and now we're coming to the end of the final episode. Do you have any post-mortem or memorial phrasing you would like to put out there?
My only regret is that I didn't do fewer episodes.
I think that maybe we should go around and say
one nice thing about each other.
What our favorite State of the YouTube episode was, and mine is definitely the Quentin reviews one. After after Mumkey was doing a little trolling.
I've never spoken to Quentin in my life. I wasn't on that episode.
No, you weren't on that episode.
No. That was
Yeah.
they recorded it the day that my channel was deleted, so I had better things to do that day than talk
Yeah.
to Quentin.
You guys were brutal
Wait, and
as well.
wasn't Internet Historian on that, but he got muted?
This was the fucking most painful episode to edit. First off, Quentin showed up 2 hours late.
Everyone likes the Quentin episode. I hated working on the Quentin episode.
Because all right, so yeah, Internet Historian was supposed to be moderating it, and I guess myself too. I was fucking pissed that we already waited around for 2 hours, and finally Quentin comes
Quentin
on.
had like a
That's
panic
something
attack.
Internet Historian would never do today.
Yeah, I know. It was.
Well,
I
Quentin was-
didn't really
he
know
was
who
trying
he
to
was at the
salvage.
time, and then when I found out, I was like, why did he do that? Like,
Yeah, he's
definitely didn't need
What
to be.
did, what did Internet Historian like? What kind of
He was
skin
there
in
to
the game did
protect Quentin.
He was trying
He was-
to like salvage Quentin's reputation in the community out of like the goodness of his heart.
he's way too nice.
and you
of
saw
a
how
guy.
that worked out for
Yeah.
Quentin. And
Yeah,
him.
so Internet Historian, I guess something happened. His audio didn't record, so I had to like creatively edit him out of the podcast entirely. Then Quentin sent his audio, and it was all fucked up, and there was like 20 minutes.
that was where the Lego audio came from.
Yeah, it was also right. That was a
well,
classic moment.
No, here's the thing. Like,
Oh yeah,
playing with
fucking
Legos.
we had it planned for like 8 p.m. on whatever that day was that we recorded it, and Quentin must have been having like a panic attack or something beforehand because we sat there on the call for like 3 hours, just like stewing.
I left.
To be
when
fair-
the fuck is this gonna happen?
To be fair to Quentin, he was just kind of in a downward spiral. The entire internet was like just harassing him.
downward spiral.
Yeah, I know that's I chose my words for a purpose. But when you're in that position where everyone's just grilling you and saying everything about you, and even if you're feeding the troll a bit, it's just a bad headspace to be in.
And I guess just for
I don't blame him.
Just for the retrospective, just to kind of clear things out, I did feel kind of guilty for just like snapping on Quentin because I guess basically what he did, for those of you who don't know, who am I kidding? Everyone knows.
I don't know. I did not listen to the episode.
Well, no. Well, you know this part where...
What did you debate him about?
No, your channel got taken down, and then he posted a tweet basically like smugly celebrating it.
I think everybody else is more offended about that than I was. I really didn't
Dude,
care.
and when I saw it, I fucking snapped, and I went on like a tirade
No, but
on Twitter.
I had it coming because I bully him all the time. He was just like snapping
This was
back
built
at
because
me.
we talked about Quentin on an episode before where he was like pissed off that PewDiePie had Ben Shapiro on his show, like he was going to somehow like radicalize the entire young generation. So we had like kind of a pot shot at him there.
I think I called him a faggot.
And
maybe.
then it
Fat
escalated.
retard.
Yeah, he got really upset about
It
that.
escalated to him celebrating your Twitter getting taken down. And I'm like, like, dude, like how low do you have to be to just?
If I recall correctly, you stated something along the lines of, "I wouldn't trust him around children."
Well, that's still true to this day.
Oh my god!
Like,
He posted a 5-hour iCarly video. I'm not letting him babysit
I watched
my
the
niece.
5-hour iCarly video and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Okay. I mean, I'd let you watch my children.
All right, so Quentin
But it
basically
only
posted
takes-
that, and I snapped on him, and I felt bad about it like a couple hours afterwards because I thought it was too extreme, and I was just heated in the moment because I was trying to like work with you. We recorded episodes together, and I was trying to like petition YouTube with you to get your account back and to just kind of have that whole intent marginalized in that way. That just like sent me over the edge. But a couple hours afterwards, Internet Historian messaged me. So he was like trying to like salvage the situation. Internet Historian, good dude.
I mean, that conversation should have not been recorded for the public to hear, though.
It definitely seemed like it was very strange because like it was going on so long, and I think I had to just leave.
I think Internet Historian was behind the scenes with Quentin, and back then they were still on good terms. And I think he basically, what must have happened, he must have given him like an ultimatum where, like, dude, if you don't go on the show, you will just be seen as like a total weasel by the community unless you go on here and make your case. And a lot of people criticized me in that episode for like not going hard enough on Quentin and not slamming enough. But that basically just had to do with I kind of just regretted snapping at him the way I did. I didn't really think it was a productive way to engage in that discussion.
I think also with a person like Quentin, I've worked with several people who are kind of like him, and if you go too hard on them, they just kind of clam up.
Yeah, I have a feeling once he finds out all 6 of us talked about him on this episode, he's going to have a mini panic attack, and I kind of don't want to put that on him.
He's going to hear this, but
I think he's outside the window right now. I think I just saw him.
I don't know. Like,
I think
he hasn't done much to me lately, so I don't really feel like perpetuating his panic attack.
He fell into the trap of getting involved in politics on the internet. You don't do that.
Yeah. I don't really have anything against him. Yeah,
I have no real ill will towards Quentin these days. I kind of feel bad for him, actually. I think he's kind of been overhated. But then again, I always feel a little guilty because I was like one of the first people to just really snap on him and say like, yo, fuck this guy. But
you were standing up for my honor, and I have to respect you for that.
Yeah, but it is worth noting that he did apologize for that multiple times. I don't really think it's fair to continue just shitting on him as if he still somehow believes it was justified that you got taken down.
Well, he probably does believe that. He just thinks that he shouldn't have made a joke about it.
I don't know.
Like, if Mumke's not like offended by it, I don't see why we should be.
No, yeah, I deserve anything Quentin wants to throw at me. I'm way more mean to him than he is to me.
Well, I'll say my favorite episode. My favorite episode was when we brought Turkey Tom and Reactor on to debate each other, and Turkey Tom forgot to record his audio, and so we just couldn't make the episode at all.
What were they debating?
I don't remember. It was something like, what were they debating? Like Reactor.
I don't remember that. Was I there?
It was like some stupid bullshit YouTube drama that everyone forgot about already.
Yeah, it was definitely something.
That's like all YouTube.
Yeah, that's all YouTube drama. You forget about it the week after.
Was
that from State of the YouTube or from?
That was State of the YouTube.
Okay,
that was near the end.
I think that was the last thing I ever recorded before I basically just kind of quit the show.
Yeah.
Other than the Gokinaru live stream that we did.
Oh yeah, well that was like a reunion.
Yeah,
but the show wasn't really.
That was the original finale. Now this is the new finale. Finale part 3.
How many more finales are we gonna have?
We got to keep milking all the finales.
Okay, so my favorite episode, I guess, for funny episode, I'd go with the Taco Bell.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
The Taco Bell rant episode, kind of classic. I'm
Emp Lemon versus vegan Taco Bell.
That's one of the few episodes I'm still fond of, mostly because it wasn't like just dumb political jargon that people are going to look at and be pissed off at me and hold a grudge against me for like 7 years afterwards.
Well, if I recall, that was you coming out of the closet as being a vegan. And that was really the first time the internet found out. So really, you probably did get a lot of ridicule for that one, probably.
Yeah, but that one I can just own it.
Yeah, there's the kind of ridicule.
There's like some episodes before where we talked about like political stuff that I kind of just regret regret just even participating in just discourse, just because it was like not productive and nothing really came out of it other than people just having ammunition to just attack me many years down the line. But my other favorite one in terms of just, I guess, a productive episode that I felt proud of, like that we actually interviewed someone, was Anxiety War.
Oh yeah, that was great. That was a 2-parter.
That was like my favorite interview of the show.
Yeah, that was definitely like, once we finished the hour, then it was an hour and a half. And it's like, dude, you want to keep talking for 3 hours? Because Anxiety War, obviously, do you know Anxiety War?
Yeah, he's the guy that catches the pedophiles.
Yeah, he catches pedophiles, and like he can hardly even put these videos up on YouTube because it's, I don't know, for a while they were considering it harassment, even though he's exposing pedophiles.
But look, it's all the Chris Hansen clips of his Crime Watch show where he kind of brought back To Catch a Predator.
Hansen versus Predator.
All those videos have like 10 million views, and they're all like super hokey of like, this plumber came. It's like they described each episode as being different by the employment of the person.
Oh, okay.
Like that's how you were able to differentiate.
Well, it's to let you know that in
pizza
every
boy.
corner of your life, there's probably a pedophile. You go to the plumber, he's a pedo. You go to church, he's a pedo. You go to the store, he's a pedo.
I've met a few pedos.
Yeah?
Yeah, I
Wanna
went to
tell us
school.
about it?
I went to school with one.
Oh yeah, you did a podcast with Digibro.
No, actually, this was actually a humongous shock to me, and it was a huge shock to a lot of my friends group because I went to a high school that was a very small high school. It was an IB school, so it was only like maybe like 70, 80 of us, I think. So everyone knew everyone. Everyone was friends with everyone. We all kept up. Well, not all of us kept up, but probably more so than a lot of other high school people, because everything was so close-knit. And so there was this guy that he was in my biology class. We did a whole bunch of like these projects together and everything like that. He was just kind of like a stoner guy. He was kind of like a fat stoner. Sometimes he would do harder stuff. He was one of those guys who would do Adderall to get his homework done.
Jesus slippery slope from marijuana to being a pedophile. Just as I suspected.
Jesus.
Well, yeah, what happened is that we hadn't heard from him in like 5 years. I remember my friends and I were hanging out, and we were like, one guy was just looking through the local news, and it was like, I'm not going to say his name, but it was like a local man molested his niece, his 12-year-old niece or something like that.
It was Corey in the house, you said?
And that was a humongous thing. I think that was probably one of like the biggest blows, just like thinking back of like all the time that, was he harboring it the whole time?
It's something you never suspected too.
Yeah,
right?
it's something you never suspect. Like I knew he was kind of a weirdo, he was a kind of a fat slob that, did some drugs.
No one ever wants to believe that it's that level of heinousness.
There was another guy, in my town who was a British immigrant, and he worked at one of the coffee shops.
Did he have a pedophile license?
License.
Bro.
He worked at a coffee shop that I would go to, coffee shop that was just outside of my neighborhood, and he was always like this, like almost like overly nice kind of guy. Do you know what I mean? And he was super like, oh, I'm super moral and blah blah blah, and like that kind of thing. And then it came out that he was molesting his own daughter. And when the cops were arresting him, he was laughing.
Jesus
The
Christ.
Joker laugh?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was that was really disturbing. It's just, so yeah, pedophiles could be around every corner. I was shocked. I was like, holy shit.
That's why I never trust like moralistic, sanctimonious people.
They're usually covering up.
When they try to claim that they have no problems. I'm not saying this is like a generalization of people who act like that, but more often than not, people trying to like extol virtue to such an extent and acting so holier than thou, they're projecting and covering up for something.
Is that why so
wrong
many
with them.
priests end up molesting, the Catholic schoolboys and shit?
That has to do with just like being put into like a religious system where you're so sexually repressed, and the idea of expressing yourself sexually. This is at least how I understand it. The idea of expressing yourself sexually so punished that you they have to form these outlets in just very dangerous ways, I guess.
You also have to think about it like this, right? Is that if you're very Catholic, right, and you're a man and you're gay, you're probably, and you don't want to live the gay lifestyle per se, you might be really inclined to go into the priesthood to try to repress that within yourself. And but it's not that it just happens in the Catholic Church. I mean, I think that if we look at the public school system and see how many of these middle school teachers, middle school white women teachers are
like sleeping with the students.
Sleeping with students, it happens all the time.
And all the boomers on Facebook. I wish I was that kid when I was 15.
It's literally that South Park episode where Ike is sleeping with his kindergarten teacher, and all the cops are like, "Nice."
No, it's this weird thing. Everyone says the Catholic Church is like the priests are more likely to molest kids, but if you look at the insurance, you could actually buy pedophile insurance. Like
what the fuck?
If basically liability insurance for that sort of thing. And
wait, how does that work?
There's insurance for everything. So there's liability insurance for your church, and if your reverend does something, then they'll cover it if there's any lawsuits.
Holy shit!
So they don't charge more.
You should get that insurance for State of the YouTube.
Well, same thing for literally anything. I think didn't Weinstein have something like that built in?
Oh, they all have insurance for literally everything, especially if they know that they're doing something or they think that something might be done. They get insurance for that.
So can you see, like, if you're going to go to a Catholic church, you can see, oh shit, they took out a policy for pedophile insurance.
Well, no, my point I was going to make was that the insurance companies don't charge a higher premium for Catholic churches than other churches. The bigger problem with the Catholic Church was that they covered it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the extent that they covered it up.
And I think too, it's just that if you look at like how big the Catholic Church is, it's so like everything is just dwarfed in comparison worldwide. You're going to have a much higher sample size than like any of these like offshoot Protestant churches or even Orthodox churches or anything like that.
Like even Boy Scouts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The problem is you have nefarious pedophiles that want to get into positions where they'll be around children. And the other thing is...
That's why they go and they make shows for children in Hollywood. That's another place they like to go.
Dan Schneider just came back yesterday. He made an announcement saying he's coming back, and he was defending himself, saying he did nothing wrong.
Stay tuned for the reckoning.
Was Dan Schneider ever charged with anything?
No.
I
don't think he ever actually... Was he ever actually accused of anything that was besides kind of creepy?
Yeah.
No, he was just accused of being a creep, as far as I know. His Twitter was definitely something special. I think that you could definitely like just have some sort of like Twitter shitpost account just retweeting him, and it'd be super popular now. Like him saying like, "Hey everyone, here's Carly and Sam with their feet. Send us pictures of your feet."
Yeah, he did ask the fans on Twitter to send feet pics.
Yeah,
it's just all the signs are there.
It's kind of creepy, right?
Like, it's one of those things.
And he changed. No, my favorite thing is he changed the logo of Nickelodeon to be a foot.
Was he actually in charge of doing that?
Well, he was so powerful at that time, and it was around the time where Dan Schneider was like just.
He had like 7 different shows.
Yeah, it was at the top
concurrently
of his
running.
And so then it's like, okay, well, Dan the man, is here, so we better change the thing to be a foot.
That's a case where it's like he probably didn't technically do anything provably against the law, but it's very...
I don't know if anyone's accused him.
It's very obvious that he has something like mentally wrong
I walked
with
into
him.
Nickelodeon Studios and they had a certificate of Dan Schneider insurance on the wall. And I was like, oh, fuck.
Dan Schneider
the actress who played Sam and iCarly, hasn't she posted a bunch of weird videos saying like, Dan, remember what you did to me,
Presumably
Dan?
he made all them sign NDAs so they can never actually publicly say...
She's been hinting at some stuff.
Can't you like break the NDA if it was something illegal? But I guess then you would have to prove that
you'd have
to have some kind of proof and not like a he said she said.
I mean, someone like Dan is probably he's smart enough to know what he can get away with and where exactly the line of acceptability is.
The thing that Dan did that I think is particularly atrocious that doesn't get talked about because it's not funny is that after what's her name? Sam. She played a Sam.
Jeanette McCurdy.
Jeanette McCurdy's. Was it her mom died
of cancer? Yeah.
Yeah, and then he was like, you got to come back to set like the next day, and he was basically being a taskmaster on her like the next day, and just no sympathy whatsoever for it. And it's like you have a teenage girl whose mom just died, and you honestly couldn't give a shit.
Yeah, she never, from what I understand, she has a podcast. I don't think she ever really liked acting. It was the family relied on her for money, so she kept on doing it.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
pretty sad.
I'm pretty sure when the mom died, that was the last straw. She suffered with some eating disorders, and she said, "That's enough. I'm not going to act anymore." She's not in the new iCarly reboot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's probably good. That reboot looks like it sucked. And she probably turned out, honestly, she probably turned out better than some of these other people. You got Drake Bell, you got Corey in the House.
Amanda Bynes.
Amanda
Oh,
Bynes.
geez.
I mean, look at like...
And Ariana Grande's doing BetterHelp ads now. Like, shit, dude.
I think that it
She's
shows
insane.
how sick an industry is. I think it shows how sick maybe a set was or something. If you have so many people coming out of it just being complete train wrecks.
So this kind of brings us to like a bigger question, though. Is it the set that's doing it, or is it just the experience of being a child star in and of itself not good on a developing mind?
So I would-
getting that much
yeah.
fame.
And
when
why
you're
don't you
13
tell us
years
about
old?
And why don't you tell us about this child star who was in this really popular Hollywood movie back in 1939?
My video about the Wizard of Oz, like the saddest part is Judy Garland and what the studio actually did to make her just go out in front of the camera and use her like a expendable resource, where she was drugged up to like such an extent to where it was said in one of her interviews that she would be up for 72 hours at a time and then sleep for 4 hours and then go back to 72 hours of work.
People just didn't respect children at all back then. I think that's another reason. I despise it when boomers say, "Oh, back in the good old days, it was so much better back then." No, it wasn't.
No way.
Kids were getting molested so often back then, but people didn't listen to children.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
well-
was the phrase was, "Children should be seen, not heard."
Yeah.
So if a child spoke up and said something like that, no one would believe them. No one would question it. It would just go by.
Yeah, I also want to bring up another thing that was actually pretty common is that the parents of the kids, the kids would make all the money, and then the parents would just squander it, and the kids would actually not see.
Yeah, that happened with like the Nick and Aaron Carter, mainly Aaron Carter. But that's what's happening with Britney Spears right now? Is like she still doesn't have the rights.
conservatorship.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure they
Her own money.
passed some laws in California to try to stop that a bit, right?
But Britney Spears, actually, the judge confirmed that she has to stay in the conservatorship just the other day. So she lost that battle. Hopefully she wins the war.
Jesus Christ.
Well,
But-
how often could you try to fight it?
I mean, I guess like if it's, you're fighting for your kids, you could, you'd be fighting for until they're 18, I guess. But it's really sad. And a lot of, if you want to look at like the Little Rascals and
Every single one of those, they
Yeah.
ended up like dead and destitute.
yeah, exactly.
Except for well, they all end up dying. I actually looked into that. Did you do a deep dive into it? Because I could be wrong on some of these.
No,
but-
I watched a video on YouTube that was a deep dive into
There's a guy
alfalfa.
Was it something Skinner is the guy's name? There's like this boomer that makes What Happened To videos about these old like Hollywood cowboys and Little Rascals.
Because one of the kids in Little Rascals who played, I think it was
He got
Butch. It was
shot.
no, it was he's a famous actor. He
Yeah.
stayed famous. Alfalfa was doing pretty well for a while. I mean, oh no, who got shot? That was a Stymie that got shot.
No, it was a kid with the little
Alfalfa.
Alfalfa,
Did
It was
you-
alfalfa. He got shot. Yeah, he got shot and killed. He sort of like fell off because it was kind of like he couldn't really fit into a changing dynamic. He couldn't really adjust well to growing up because he was so known for being alfalfa. It was really hard for him to break that.
Yeah, and I think Spanky just like died of a heart attack in his 40s or 50s or something.
And it wasn't like the dog poisoned. Like even like the dog had something bad happen to him. Like one of them they found dead in a shack in the middle of the desert.
I'm gonna have to look this up again because I for some reason I feel like the last time I looked it up there just wasn't enough crazy things. It was almost like the myth of that
This was a
bigger than the truth.
It's been a long time since I looked into it, but also you have to think that they were making those for quite a while, and I think they rotated the cast quite a bit, so you could focus in on the craziest examples.
Yeah, and also, just how they ran things. I think it might have been that video where they were showing just like how strict they were with the kids, and they put them in like almost like what's it like isolated or what's it called in prison when you're
Solitary confinement.
Solitary confinement. They put the kids in solitary confinement as like punishment. back in like the 1930s Hollywood, and it was really fucking up a lot of the kids. And I also want to say another thing about, just kids and people in general not really being taken care of was John Landis on the set of Twilight Zone. I think you probably know about what happened.
Oh, yeah. Well, right. Well, okay. So what it was on the 80s movie. Was it the 80s movie?
In the 80s.
Yeah, it was.
Maybe it was early 90s.
Maybe like 91.
They had 3 directors that were directing parts, and what's his name? John Landis?
John Landis, yeah.
So
Max Landis' dad, by the way.
They wanted to get this really crazy shot of this helicopter that was crashing or something, and they didn't. The pilot was like, "This is kind of sketchy." I know I'm getting some of this wrong, but they didn't tell the children or the parents of the children that what they were doing is very fucking dangerous.
Yeah.
And it ended up lopping these kids' heads off.
He wanted the helicopter to get like really close to the explosion. I think what it was, just that he wanted it to be really low and get close to the explosion, and they were like crossing the river, so the helicopter was like in the background, and what happened is it got now this is just off of memory, so anyone in the I'm sure that somebody.
Yeah, I think he just lost control trying to get
he
so
lost
low.
control. Yeah, and he cut off, and it wasn't just the 2 kids.
There's another guy, one of the actors.
One of the main actors. One of the main actors got killed, and actually the reason why John Landis sort of got kicked out of Hollywood pretty much after that wasn't necessarily even because of that incident. Although supposedly John Landis had been drinking. I heard a report like that.
I thought he got convicted of. For something because of that,
when he was taking the stand, Steven Spielberg completely said, "I don't want to have anything to do with this guy," because he didn't show any remorse for anything that happened.
Jesus.
And then he didn't get convicted, so he actually got off. And then right when he got off, he held a big party to celebrate him not getting convicted.
Whoa.
Well, I think we've actually gone pretty far over. I don't think we even finished going around talking about favorite Saudi episodes. That's fine.
Well, I think I'll just interject with mine right quick here. So my favorite Saudi episode was the ones that I'm on.
Yeah, I agree with that. Those are good episodes.
For me, I felt like me and Mr. Jimmy, coming from a similar background with our our roots on the YouTube sphere, or making videos, kind of coming from a similar background. I felt like it was a long time coming, and it was my first step into this space. And now here we are, a couple years later, just about exactly a couple years later from that, I do believe, and
getting kicked out of bars together, falling asleep face to face, kissing, cuddling. So much, we started on this show, and now it's going to end on this show.
So true, and so it really, besides for those allegations of kissing, which are completely false. It's really been a wild ride and a wonderful time. And it all started with that boot picture that I had as my profile picture on Discord. I logged in and I joined Podcast, which was what the server was.
That was the name
called.
of our server?
Yeah, or something like that. And so
as lazy as possible the whole way through.
Absolutely.
Have you guys seen Judy Garland doing blackface?
Yeah.
Is that how you want to end the final episode?
I think I show everyone. I don't know if that's the best way
I haven't seen it. I'd love to.
Yeah, maybe that's a good way to close out the show.
Damn, she's looking good.
This isn't just blackface. This is just full out minstrel show.
Next, please.
Yeah. Blackface is like Orson Welles and Othello.
Yeah, she looks like Jinx the Pokemon right now. Jesus Christ.
Coming for to carry me
pretty good, though.
How many amphetamines and barbiturates do you think she's on?
I don't think she knows where she is.
You said
right
this
now.
She's
is
got the
Amp
1,000
Lemon's
yard
personal
stare.
hero?
No, the 1,000-yard stairs was a part of the minstrel act, like having your eyes super wide to look like the caricatures.
Yeah. I wouldn't know, but please do explain further.
Those lips are like marshmallows here.
Oh
Man, these two men are happy.
Oh, this is the next big thing I'm telling you.
It's a show within a show. My new groundbreaking concept.
I'm hoping no one claims this clip.
Who wants to take who wants to say
Your
it's
7
theirs?
cents of revenue.
Huh?
You can check under the video to see if this is claimed.
Oh, okay.
Just only played 14 seconds of it. It'll be fair use.
Imagine you're Universal, like, no, that's our blackface Judy Garland clip. You can't play that.
That's what started the whole fucking adpocalypse. God damn it. Pisses me off.
Attribution
Creative
license.
Commons attribution
Does that mean we
license.
can use it?
Reuse. Reuse allowed. Okay.
Oh, good.
Nice.
Oh, right. If like the content ID picks up on it.
All right, so it's clean.
Who are all the
Is the
dislikes?
podcast over? Can we leave?
Hey, you haven't
I
finished
guess
your
that's it.
blackface Judy
All
Garland.
right. Bye, everyone.
Later.
Tune into Money Suckle.
More across the ice in the limousine while Simon Legree shakes his tambourine way down south in Dixie.